When you're exploring the wild, it can be exciting to come across something you've never seen before. But sometimes, it's wise to temper your urge to get up close and personal to something new. You never know when you'll encounter something especially dangerous on your travels, and we'll show you a few things you'll definitely want to avoid. To learn more about where to go and where not to, be sure to subscribe to The Hub and join our notification squad. Fungus. You can't spell fungus without fun, but not all of these organisms are a fungi to hang out with. You probably don't need to be told to keep your distance from this disturbing looking plant. We can't decide if octopus stinkhorn or devil's finger is the better nickname for this fungus, but either one would make an excellent band name. Their creepy tentacles reach out to grab their prey, but unless you're a piece of wood, you don't have to worry. The worst thing you have to worry about is their slime, which stinks like rotting flesh. This other fungus, however, is something you definitely want to run from. It's called the Podostroma cornudame and is responsible for many fatalities in Asia where it grows. This stuff can literally cause the skin to peel from your face and can lead to organ failure if you ingest it. It's chock full of potent toxins called trichotillene mycotoxins that aren't conducive to a long and happy life. The Lepiota brennionin carnata looks dull in comparison, but it's no less lethal. It does have a great nickname, the deadly dapperling, but it's also filled with lethal amounts of alpha-amanitin. Eating it can cause nausea and vomiting at first, and ultimately lead to organ failure. Berries. This insidious-looking plant is the doll's eye, also known as a white baneberry. They might look benign, but these berries contain cardiogenic toxins that kick into effect immediately when ingested. They will have an immediate sedative effect on your cardiac muscles and will cause your mouth and throat to begin burning. You can even suffer from dizziness and hallucinations before succumbing to this frightening foliage. We also have an evil tomato imposter, the horse nettle. This weed can produce lovely flowers and berries that closely resemble tomatoes. You might be tempted to slice one open for a snack, but we implore you to resist. Every single part of this plant is toxic, but the berries most of all. They're filled with a toxic alkaloid called solanine, which can cause abdominal distress and circulatory and respiratory depression. Despite the name, they're not actually true nettles. They belong to the nightshade family, which explains their uncanny resemblance to our beloved tomatoes. They're not the only nightshade species that you should watch out for. You'll also want to steer clear of the Solanum pseudocapsacum, also known as the Jerusalem cherry. They're sometimes kept as a houseplant, but they're incredibly toxic, although not lethally so like horse nettles or doll's eye. Stinging tree. When it comes to totally innocuous but secretly devious life forms, it's hard to beat the Dendrocinide morides, better known as the stinging brush. You don't even have to ingest this plant in order to find yourself in tremendous pain, or even worse. It's found in rainforest areas of Northeast Australia and can grow from 3 to 10 feet tall. It has large heart-shaped leaves and, oh yeah, stinging hairs that cover the entire plant. Just brushing up against this tree is a bad move, as the hairs are coated in a potent neurotoxin. They're hollow and tipped with silica, and they'll slide right into your skin. Even a light brush up against this tree will cause an extremely painful stinging sensation that can last anywhere from a few days to a few years. You'll enjoy small red dots that join together to form an epically painful welt. It's been known to be lethal to animals and to drive human beings insane with agony. Not exactly something you want to happen on a nice hike through the woods. If you come into contact with one, it's essential that you remove every single tiny hair. Otherwise, they'll fester under your skin and the pain will be unceasing. Caterpillars. These asp caterpillars are covered in urticating hairs that will cause devastating effects on human skin. People have compared getting stuck with these venomous spines to blunt force trauma or a broken bone. They cause immediate skin irritation that isn't just limited to the affected area, but it radiates all over the body. This can result in a burning sensation, abdominal distress, and even trouble breathing. You can expect this intense pain to last for a minimum of 12 hours. The asp caterpillar is the most venomous caterpillar in all of North America. What might look like strands of luxurious hair actually function as tiny hypodermic needles. They're connected to glands teeming with venom, just waiting to sink into your skin. You might be able to get away with merely experiencing excruciating pain if you just brush up against one, but if you step on one with your bare foot or try to pick one up, you're in real trouble. Wolfsbane. You don't even have to venture far into the woods to find this next hazardous plant, as it can be found growing in gardens from time to time. This pretty purple flower is called aconitum, but it's better known as monkshood or wolfsbane. According to mythology, this plant grew out of the saliva of the massive three-headed dog Cerberus. Its toxicity has been well known since ancient times, and it appears in many works of fiction. People throughout history have used this poison to coat their weapons for hunting. The Aleuts of Alaska even use it to take down whales by coating a lance with it. The roots are the most dangerous part of this plant, but the whole thing should absolutely be avoided. avoided. In 2014, gardener Nathan Greenaway passed away after merely handling the plant while working in a client's garden. Within hours of contact, the plant had caused massive damage to Greenaway's internal organs, from which he would sadly never recover. It's thought that Greenaway experienced an especially severe reaction, since such damage isn't typically done unless the plant is ingested. Still, it's clearly best to err on the side of caution here, and maybe select some nice hydrangeas for your garden instead. Birds. Yes, you might be shocked to know that having a bird alight on you can be less than magical. There are some birds out there that are dangerous, and we're not talking giant birds of prey here. We think you can figure out to stay away from a harpy eagle when you see their beaks and talons. But what about this adorable little orange and brown bird? People in New Guinea know this bird very well, as the hooded pitahui is one of the only toxic birds in the world. Not only that, but gram for gram, this bird is one of the most toxic things on the planet, period. Every part of this bird, from its feathers to its tissues, is rich with toxins. It's thought that these birds evolved their toxicity in order to deter predators and parasites from feeding on them. Every bit of them contains a powerful neurotoxin, with their skin and feathers being the most hazardous. The little strike thrush is also an unassuming looking bird found in New Guinea. We know precious little about this bird, other than the fact that it's toxic. These birds contain poison similar to the secretions produced by poison dart frogs of Central and South America. Fish. You know if you're going for a swim in the ocean, you'll want to avoid sharks, barracudas, and other scary-looking sea creatures. But the innocuous-looking pufferfish is one you definitely want to avoid as well. You know that these fish are able to puff up to make themselves look bigger and deter predators, but that's not their only defense. They're among the most poisonous vertebrates in the entire world. When the pufferfish is at rest, their spines aren't visible, but once they fill their stomachs up with air or water, they're more readily apparent. If you think humans don't have to worry about the tetrodotoxin of pufferfish, think again. It's about 1,200 times more poisonous than cyanide. A single pufferfish contains enough poison to take down 30 adult humans, and there is no known antidote. Despite knowing all of this, some humans will willingly ingest pufferfish. It's considered a delicacy in Japan, China, and Korea, where it's prepared by specially trained chefs. A single misstep in the preparation process can be lethal to the diner. Slow loris. We hate to be the one to ruin all of those cute internet videos featuring slow lorises for you, but that's exactly what we're going to do. We know that it's hard to look into their big, soulful eyes and believe that these things are dangerous, but they're really toxic. Slow lorises have large, sharp teeth and are able to grasp things firmly with both their hands and feet. Having one sink its teeth into you is even worse when you consider the fact that their bite is toxic. This feature is incredibly rare in mammals, so it's not surprising that many people don't realize that the slow loris is a dangerous animal. They get their toxin into their mouths by licking a gland on their arm, and the gland secretion mixed with their saliva makes a potent and dangerous cocktail waiting to be delivered. When they groom themselves or they're young, they coat themselves in this toxin to further deter predators from messing around with them. Slow lorises are shy, and they won't go looking for a fight, but they aren't afraid to lash out with their fearsome toxic mouths if they're threatened. Their bites are excruciatingly painful, and can be potentially lethal, especially if the victim is allergic. Octopus. You probably know that octopi can be extremely intelligent, but did you know they can be dangerous as well? This is a blue-ringed octopus, and it's known as one of the most venomous marine creatures. These creatures are so toxic that they are even dangerous to humans. As their name implies, they're easy to identify by their blue rings, which can change colors when they feel threatened. You might spot them hiding in a crevice underwater, but make sure to give them their space. If you see them turn yellow and their blue rings flash, you're in serious trouble. Each octopus holds enough venom to take down 26 adult humans in just a few minutes. The all-star of the blue-ringed octopus's venomous cocktail is the powerful neurotoxin TETRODOTOXIN, but you'll also find histamine, tryptamine, octomine, taurine, acetylcholine, and dopamine in there. Getting bitten by one will result in paralysis, blindness, and ultimately respiratory arrest and heart failure. The silver lining about this dangerous creature is that they're not aggressive, and they prefer to hide or flee from predators, but if you get too close to one and it feels cornered, you could be in serious danger. Giant anteater. Since giant anteaters eat ants, you probably don't think they could be a threat to humans. But these creatures are enormous, up to 7 feet long from the tip of their snouts to their tails. Sure, they use their tongues to lap up ants, but they need to have massive claws in order to tear open anthills. Their claws are so huge that they need to walk on their knuckles to accommodate them. The muscles of an anteater are designed to give them major leverage and seriously powerful front appendages. Most of us have only seen anteaters on television or in zoos, so we don't know how dangerous they can truly be. But in Central and South America, they're considered dangerous creatures. With one single swipe of their paws, anteaters can do a massive amount of damage. If you see one rear up on its hind legs, run away fast. They'll use their tail for balance while they tear you down with their claws. They're not afraid to fight off creatures like jaguars and pumas, so an unarmed human doesn't stand much of a chance against one. Have you ever encountered one of these plants or animals and lived to tell the tale? If so, be sure to share it with us in the comments section. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to The Hub for more content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.